All right, beautiful. We are back, and now it's about time we have a look at the dailies. What is happening? What is being reported? And first off, I see dead teachers paid millions. MPs demand an in-depth audit of the Teachers Service Commission payroll following revelations that dead tutors were in lists that saw the state agency overpay salaries by 446 million shillings for the year 2021 and 2022, and 353 million is actually the amount of money in shillings that TSC overpaid teachers' salaries in the 2020-2021 financial year. That's a story you can find in more details. That is on page 4. And in other news, I see here strange kidnap, shock murder of businessman. On Valentine's Day, Jayesh Kanji was walking in Nairobi West with his family. Moments later, he was picked up by someone in a Toyota Prado. And later, and miles away, a blood trail led security guards to a thicket where they found a checked shirt, a shoe, underwear, metal rod, and pieces of bones. What really happened? This is quite unfortunate. That's a story on page 5. And also there's a special report on pages 2 and 3 whereby it's all about scars of city gas explosion. Almost a month later, heaps of burnt out wreckage still lie bare at Mradi Estate, the scene of a tragic gas explosion scene. Victims are still scarred, a testimony to the devastating impact of the night fireball. For them, life will never be the same again. We go behind the scenes to investigate. You can look at that special report on pages 2 and 3 as well. And on page 6, I see here Ruto Tinubu, the flying presidents. Interesting. Page 6, you can find that story. And I also see here Kihika risks jail over war memorial tussle. Court prioritizes hearing of an application by the hospital's administration seeking to cite Governor Kihika and Nakuru County Police Chief Ndaye for contempt. And on the back page here, that is on the sports page of the Standard, I see Arsenal face Staff Champs League trip to Porto. And lastly, I see Kibugu Brothers ready for MK and Kenya Breweries Limited has sunk 34 million shillings into the global showpiece that tees off tomorrow. Shoes or no shoes, athletes chase after world cross country slots. Government use national games to name teams for world cross country event. And over 134 countries are expected to take part in the championship in Nairobi. So that's just a brief of what is happening on the Standard.
Right, the Daily Nation, the front page, they go with the headline, State House extra budget blocked. So the controller of budget, Margaret Nyakango, rejected requests by the national government to spend 47 billion shillings under an emergency provision that allows withdrawals without parliamentary approval. Now, among the blocked expenditures were 1.1 billion shillings by State House for the purchase of vehicles and building a modern presidential dais. Wow, yeah. How much we need that dais. Anyway, page 7 of The Nation, that is where you can read that story in details. Still on the front page, governors insist counties must get 450 billion shillings. So a meeting with governors at the ongoing National Executive Retreat in Naivasha failed to unlock the deadlock over the devolved units' share of national revenue, even as President Ruto pledged his administration is committed to strengthening devolution. Treasury has offered 391 billion shillings, but county chiefs, they still want more. Read that story on page 5. Fuel prices to rise as the state triples EPRA levy. So consumers will pay more for fuel after the government tripled the tax payable to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, for every litre of the commodity purchased. So even as the global prices are falling, the local levies and taxes on the same commodity, they are rising. Page 12, you can get more details. There is a tragic story here, which is covered on page 3. Kenyan student dies on arrival in Dublin. A family in Baringo wants an investigation into the cause of death of their 23-year-old daughter, 3 days after returning to Dublin, Ireland, where she had been studying for 8 months. story is covered on page 3. And the back page, DCI is seeking officers to fill its ranks in recruitment drive. Several changes have been made within the investigations department. Officers with degree or diploma in IT or related field and a driver's license will be given preference rather. It's on the back page. 40 years, this is the maximum age of police officers applying for vacancies in the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Lawmakers have summoned KRA boss after skipping invitation 14 times. So Parliament has summoned KRA Commissioner General Humphrey Watanga after he skipped the MP's invitation 14 times. And why Union is opting for TSC rather than Treasury to handle tutors' pensions. NAT has called for an amendment to the Pensions Act to shift the handling of pensions from the National Treasury to the employer. Read that back page of the Nation. And then Kiptum would have made Paris Olympic men's marathon dream lineup complete. Rono was a Washington State University athlete like no other. Glasgow next stop for Omanyala. That is covered on page 23, 33, 34 and 35. And I see it's time for another magical Kenya Open as England's Poppert shows just why he's on top of the world. That is in the Daily Nation. I also have the Business Daily and the front page. Financial Crimes Watchdog flags 86 billion shillings in 3 years. Corruption most rewarding for money launderers. 1,938 fraud cases scrutinized by Financial Reporting Center. And I also see interest rates on bank loans race past 26% in fresh review. You can read that in as far as commercial banks lending is concerned. And that is what is being reported in today's dailies. So you can grab your favorite copy, get to see in details what is being reported. Continue praying for the leadership of this nation, both at the national and county levels. And also we get to be informed of what's happening in our nation.
Amazing. So right about now, let us have a look at the video of the day. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about it, even as we usher in today's conversation.